welcome to the Innermost Ramblings of Fiona, a podcast. I'm Fiona, surprise, surprise, and this is a space where I've decided to release some of the things that come from my innermost parts, my ramblings, as a podcast. It's been born from this space of discovering that I really like being out of voice memo, that a lot of the time I don't know my experience until I can talk about it. And then as I speak, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of truth in that. Wow, that was really pivotal for me. Wow. And yeah, I want to share that with the world. There's multiple reasons that I've started this podcast, and yeah, that's one of them. The connection piece that voice memos allows me to have with other people on a personal level, and now I'm wanting to release that at another level as a podcast, and also attending 12 steps and just the sharing of experience, strength and hope as people share unedited has been really helpful for me, because I just learn so much from listening to people talk about their experience. I can identify myself in that experience and learn from them. And again, other podcasts that do the same thing, where I just listen to someone's experience and I'm like, wow, I am taking so much away from someone else sharing honestly where they're at and how they experience the world, what their truth is. Maybe it's not my truth, but I can then work out what my truth is. So welcome to this podcast as I ramble, and I hope that it is a place that you can find yourself in, even if not in my experiences, but start to work out your own truth. Thank you for joining me. May you enjoy. From my heart to yours. Hello. It's funny, I'm creating a podcast. I guess that makes me a podcaster, and I'm like, I am still me. And this still feels like me voice memoing me and just just rambling. And yeah, there's been like 11 listens to the podcast episodes that I've released so far total. So it's like, and the demographic has been female. So I'm just like, well, I guess it does. It feels very much like this is what I've been doing for ages, which is kind of making me brave or perhaps reckless. I don't know. Anyway, I wanted to talk today about I guess the journey I'm having with my own body. I keep singing this to myself. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about me and me. Let's talk about all the things that I'm not supposed to talk about. Let's talk about sex. So, that is what I'm going to do. I've been following freaky little Christians on Instagram for a little while. And some stuff just clicked today, like they have this thing, Masturbation Mondays, and just like the freedom to explore, like Freaky Little Christians is deconstructing from purity culture as well, and yeah, like I guess just normalizing things, and stuff shifted today for me that I had not realized was even a thing. My cycle, like my bleed and my cycle has been very irregular lately. Sometimes it's like 100 days and sometimes it's like 20 days. And yeah, I got my blood today. And just noticing like all these sensations in my body that back in the day would have shut down and ignored. Or just like I wasn't allowed to have, so I simply just didn't have them. And how deep these programs are in my body. But the thing that shifted for me today is like, I'm noticing that when I bleed, I just want to be touched, especially on my breasts and around my ribs. And it's always been like, I'm exploring my sexuality, I'm exploring my body to practice for when I have a partner. It's always been that way. Like my body's not quite my own when it comes to sexuality and exploring sensations and my experience with that. And I realized today, like that's come very directly from sex is for marriage, and when I'm married, my body still isn't my own, my desires still aren't my own. Like I get married and then my body becomes my husband's, and I just meet his needs. There's no, and I say that present tense, sorry, there's no like what I want in that equation. It's for their pleasure. And I say that present tense, even though it's not, like that's not how I think or feel about it anymore. That's what shifted today. That program has been subconsciously running, like this desire, like it's almost like I'm outside of my body pretending to be a potential partner and like, oh wow, but something shifted today and just like, this is for me. Like my body, me and my body, we chose each other for this lifetime. I chose this upbringing. I chose all of this programming to unravel on purpose. There's got to be some gift in it somewhere, and I think there is, like just this, to know how constricted and how programmed I have been. That's a huge shift. And then also this other shift of like, well, if I've always been practicing, like it doesn't count yet. I've been practicing for partnered, shared experiences with my body, and because I haven't done that, it doesn't count. But realizing today, like, nah, that is the complete opposite. Like that feels really uncomfortable to talk to and about, to find words to articulate. But something has shifted around that as well. Feels really big. Like this awareness that I am, if I never share my body with another person, I can still have a healthy, thriving sex life, sexual experiences. And this shift away from I need to have an orgasm to I just want to be in my body, which is my craving all the time. And I think a lot of this shift has come from so I wrote this letter to someone that I find brings up attraction in me. And attraction, I realized, is this like, I'm not allowed to have it. I shouldn't hold attraction in my body. And that experience, like that, I've firmly put any kind of attraction into my shadow. Like it is not part of me. I cannot own it. I cannot experience it. It's not okay. And you know, which is, blech, it makes me unable to communicate or be present with or move towards someone that I find attractive, which is less than ideal. It's been really damaging, I think, and I wrote quite extensively. Like, I've been trying to like disengage from this feeling for a while, over a year, and then I don't know what it was, but I was like, I'm going to move into this, like run full pelt into it and write about it. I'm going to write a letter to attraction, or to the person that, with no intention of, I guess there was some level of wanting to share it, but the processing that's come from just allowing myself to write it. I think I will share some of it, like read some of it as part of a podcast. I also want to write a letter to attraction as an entity in and of itself. But this starting point of just being able to stop shaming myself for having attraction has shifted so much in me. And just like, I ramble on and on about physical touch because it is such a huge thing for me. Like, it's just been this, everything's been sexualized. And so I haven't known how to sit with it or stay with it. And a healthy body is a physical body. Hang on, let me backtrack. I came to live in a physical body to experience all the physical things. And a healthy body actually has healthy touch from day to day. Like a touch on the shoulder in passing, a good morning hug, a good night hug. Like, I went for years where nobody touched me, or it would be like a once every couple of weeks, because it was so dangerous and it just physically hurt so much. And now there's a hurt in the form of aching for it, and realizing like, it's okay. I don't know how to let it in and be okay a lot of the time, but this is part of the journey. I was doing outreach last night, earlier today, and I went dancing last night, which is my nightly ritual before bed. But it was really, like, it would have been like 25 at 9 o'clock last night, 9 p.m, and just so warm. And there was, I don't know, just this like, I'm going to take my shirt off and dance in the dark. I mean, it's a private place that I dance, there's no one around. But just to realize how freaking far I have come, for that to be something, like, there's still an edge of like, because I'm dancing on a back road, which isn't used very often, but people do use it. So I'm like, just that edge of like, and yet, like, just how far I've come, like, to look back at me and just the discomfort I felt in my body, even just wearing a shirt that didn't cover my shoulders or shorts that were shorter than my knee was massively uncomfortable. Like, I've come a long way, and there are, like, I still feel inhibited in being in my body and wearing clothes that I want to wear if there are other people around. I'm feeling comfortable and safe, or like I'm not creating some sort of scenario where I'm asking to be taken advantage of. But just to be like, man, I have come a long way. I'm talking about this. And not just to myself, like, it does feel like me rambling to myself and being like, acknowledging to myself, processing for myself out loud. I guess that's the both advantage and disadvantage of voice memos and recording and not seeing the people that I'm listening to, and again, that reckless or brave, maybe a little bit of both. Yeah. There's so many subconscious programs that run, and because they're subconscious, I don't know them until I see them. But yeah, I feel like some have shifted today. I think another one in just talking out loud about this. Even if I never release this, I'm talking it out loud, and that in and of itself is a huge thing. Like, it was very taboo in the church to talk about. Yeah, I just I do think at some point I will record some of what I wrote in my letter to one I find attractive, and yeah, a letter to my attraction in and of itself as an entity. I guess the part of myself that does find that embodies that's been repressed. There's so many elements of myself that are repressed that I'm like, wow, I didn't know you were there. I often see this image of like a very cold person wandering around in the snow outside, and realizing that that's me. That's a part of me that's I've kind of exiled, and I'm frustrated and stay outside, and she's frozen and emasculated, and yeah, just wants to come back inside where it's warm and be loved. Welcome in, come sit by the fire. Yeah. The difference that not rejecting these parts that I'm finding myself, that I've shamed, or that just feel super uncomfortable to be with, or that I've sidestepped, it's so big. Yeah. Hey, part 2. I've decided I'm going to read some of this letter that I wrote to one I find attractive. It's been quite a few weeks since I recorded the original first part of this episode, and I've learnt so much from writing this, and it almost seems like this person just represents or has given me a way in, a way to access, an access point into myself. And really, like, everyone is just a mirror. Everyone is just showing me something about myself, and any interaction is this gift to go deeper into myself. So I am ceasing to think that it's got anything to do with this person. In fact, I know it has nothing to do with this person. They've just been this portal into a place inside myself that I've never really known how to interact with, like, for as long as I can remember. Attraction has been something I've run away from or felt a lot of discomfort, unsafe with. So I'm going to read this, and it feels quite vulnerable, and I won't read all of it, so let's see what happens. Dearest person I find attractive. One I find attractive. I think there's probably many this represents. Like I said, many. I feel like every conversation with you, every interaction with you, I leave physically shaking, shorter of breath than usual, and freaking out internally in some manner of fight, flight, or freeze. Not even as soon as I leave, but as soon as I sight you. When the conversation is over, all of a sudden I can access the things I would have liked to just say. But in that moment, couldn't, because and this is the thing that baffles me, so I just can't seem to relax. I spend the next week going over the conversation, trying to understand what happened, why I couldn't relax. and wanting to try again, wanting to explain myself, to apologize, to make it right, even though there was nothing particularly wrong. I never leave feeling like it was a clean interaction, an interaction with clarity. Honestly, I feel like it would just be easier and better to shut you out completely and hope never to run into you again. Not because I don't want to, just because my poor nervous system would get a break, which I have tried. And I have tried for many years in many areas of my life. Just because I feel so activated in my body with fear all the time. Even when you're not actually around in my sphere, it takes me weeks to work out and release the energy from my body after interacting with someone I find attractive. I always feel like I need to apologize. Why? What happens inside me? It takes me so long to come to a place where I can even acknowledge to myself the fact, or maybe just begin to start admitting to myself that I think you're pretty cute. And even that is something that I borrow from my sister or someone like society. I don't want to admit to myself that I want to hang out more and talk to you and know you, about you, and reach out and touch you. That was just so hard to read. I mean, actually allowing myself to acknowledge it for myself is still such a process. I find it so uncomfortable to own. I want to minimize it or shrink it to less than, to not make a big deal about it, to deny it completely within myself, so I'm not even aware of it. I tell myself, a person like you couldn't like a person like me. Not really, if you knew me. Like, I'm not going to read that bit. But what does a person like me even define? More than that, all the programs I run internally about what it means to be noticed for the way I look, how bad it is, how bad that makes me. Me being noticed as an attractive person is so unsafe and really sinful. What if you knew me, my emotions, my heart, myself? Would you still want to know me? Still like me? What is that about? When I ask myself about this, I can't entirely articulate it. It's like you're one of the guys at school who all the girls liked and who knew it and wouldn't bother with me unless it was sports day. And even then they didn't know it was me, just that I could help win stuff. I went to an area school and there was this guy and we'd been in the same classes since year 8, and in year 10 he was like, "Oh, are you new?" Because we happened to be in the same PE class, physical education class. Like, anyway, I find myself having experiences, seeing things, doing things in the day, and then wanting to share them, but then not really knowing if that's okay, second guessing it, wanting again to downplay it, to not have this experience. It's like I'm bad for wanting this. I want to be near to you, but I freeze every time I am. I get this is something about me, my story to unravel, but I don't feel like I can be honest with myself about it. Let alone with someone else. Like it's high maintenance, exasperating and easier to avoid, which again is my projection onto myself. I feel so unsure and insecure with these sensations in my body. My body, I perceive you as unsafe. Why does attraction feel so unsafe to me? My body equally wants to reach out and touch you and run away from you. It's exhausting and somewhat consuming, confusing. I just want to find some balance, but mostly I just pretend and avoid. It's learning to lean into this. This is a huge step. Writing about this, letting myself move towards all the confusion and discomfort is progress. I have questions like, am I trying to force something that's simply not meant to be? Or making what could be easy hard with all other thoughts and feelings, but these are real for me. Thing is, I am learning that listening to and validating all my feelings is important and leads me home to my truth, my body. I don't know which parts of me are fear and which parts are intuition quite yet. And I know that I need to talk about it and talk about it until I can make some sense about it. To talk about it until I'm done talking about it. That's what my friend says. She's like, well, just talk about it until you're done talking, and then you'll be done talking. Which parts I need to work out from within and which parts to voice and own in the space outside of me. I think this is a gift that this person has come to bring. Just simply awareness that I feel this way, that this exists inside of me, that this ache is mine to be with, mine to unravel, mine to heal. I think there's a level of unsafety that comes because I feel unsafe with these parts of myself that I avoid and do not want to be with, because I perceive them to be bad and unsafe and distrustworthy. It's definitely become apparent to me in the last little while that male-bodied humans and the masculine energy feels unsafe to me. That I don't know how to be myself in a body around male folk. This reclaiming my feminine form, not dressing in boy clothes all the time, not trying to shrink and hide my body and having it noticed, feels like asking for trouble. Feels like the thing I was warned against my whole life in the church and growing up in this program and culture. I want to downplay any desire I have around wanting a relationship. It's like, it's not safe. Don't own it. Maybe I do want a relationship, and admitting that to myself is the most terrifying thing. I know a part of me definitely wants to touch you. You have no idea how life-changing and defining. Not reading that bit either. I am afraid to ask point blank, can I touch you? Can you touch me? Can we talk about this and go slow? God. It's like I want constant reassurance, constant direction about what's okay, and way more communication than I've ever experienced around this. And yet I don't know how to articulate a lot of the time because I'm so out of my body. I've spent so long running away from my internal experiences, thinking I must be doing something wrong to be feeling all that I'm feeling. I think though, really, this is a gift that I need to run headfirst into. All of this has felt so shadowy, so bad, something to be ashamed of and hide and pretend. I can see more clearly now how that's created disconnection from me. Like, just shutting down to keep me safe and able to abide by all the rules of religion, but the anxiety and damage it's caused in the process. I am both rambling and feel like I'm getting to the true depth and the truth of the matter. It feels bad. Don't talk about it. Don't acknowledge how all of this is for me, really and truly. Don't acknowledge to yourself what it is you truly want, so you don't feel the ache of what you're missing. Which is not to say I want any of these things with people that I'm attracted to, or all people I'm attracted to. But in seeing how much I've run from this part of myself and demonized this part of myself and made it wrong, made myself filthy for having these things and experiences happen within me. the gift that feeling attraction to this person has been one of bringing up all this stuff. I've hated it and myself for feeling it. What if the only way to the other side is to feel it? What if this is my way home to freedom and feeling, and actually letting this stuff all become a part of me? To feel okay and good and find pleasure in it instead of pain and shame. To look at myself with compassion and welcome this part into my psyche as valuable, as powerful, as where my magic lives, not as liabilities or shadows or things to be condemned about. This may make little or no sense to anyone who hasn't come from this perspective, this culture. And this is just some of my process. This is really for me, my need to understand myself, to own myself, to witness and allow. I guess I want someone outside of me to be here with me as I do this. I want someone almost to keep knocking at the door so that I can remember there's something outside of the room I feel locked in at the moment. I've been sitting here and typing with the dogs underfoot. We're dog sitting a dog, and she's continued to poke her face into me, to put her hands or her paws on my lap, with some force too if I ignore her. She's not afraid to go after what she really wants. She wants touch, a pat, she wants eye contact and attention, and she knows it, and she's cute, and she keeps going till she gets it. More intently than Rusty, who is my dog, but Rusty does the same. He finds my hands and moves them to his nose, head, down his back. He knows what he wants. Why do I find it so freaking hard to be with these things within myself? I think there's partly fear because I know there's potential for rejection, and that very potential feels like death and pain, so I want to avoid it, along with those programs I have going. But that's not how I want to live and love, and not how I get what I need. I can see that, I can feel that. Just writing and rambling in this way is helping me make sense of it. I hate these experiences because I haven't known how to be with them or let them be, let alone go after them and into them. What do these programs actually say, and who are they actually serving, really? Not me and myself anymore. They're hurting me and debilitating, honestly. They create fear and shame, disconnection, shrinking and hiding. The program that I shouldn't have attraction, shouldn't be attracted to others, that somehow is sinful and bad, shouldn't be attractive, that my body is actually repulsive, that my sexuality is repulsive, that I'm repulsive, so not to inflict this onto anyone else and into others' lives. Gosh darn, it runs deep. And gosh, I don't want it anymore. Freaking heck, I don't. And that's the end of my letter. And after writing that, I just had this compassion for myself. It really has shifted so much for me. So much to even just start writing. There is no way I'm going to share this with said attracted person. But to even just look and start seeing this pattern and this fear and this avoidance and this thing that I've been doing, this dance I've been doing with myself, within myself, this shame dance around experiencing attraction, which I think is a human thing, not something I need to shame. Now, I didn't always think that. And I still have parts, there's still parts that I'm that's a bit close to home to share. But I wrote this letter in response. Dearest Fiona, thank you so freaking much for opening up and sharing your experience with me, your truth. You are so divine, so beautiful. I'm so proud of you for finally letting these things in as valuable, truthful parts of yourself. This is your truth. This is your way home, letting yourself be with these things, these parts of yourself as they are, not good or bad, as parts of yourself, your home, your story held in your body, takes guts and bravery and compassion and acceptance. And you are so powerful. I feel like you've opened this door. This fearful thing is now your place of power. You don't have to be afraid of yourself or repulsed by yourself. You don't have to justify yourself. You just need to own yourself. You are a divine being. You should and are allowed to explore in your own way and feel completely safe when doing so. This is your birthright. Pleasure is part of your pleasure is part of why you incarnated into this physical body. And this aching for touch is good, is holy and beautiful, and your way home, your power and your magic from your attraction. Thank you for listening and holding this part of me sacred and witnessing this unfolding. Like, it just feels so epic, honestly. And I've started conversing with attraction as an entity in and of her own self. And letter writing seems to be this really healing way of doing that. So there is more letters that have been written. I may or may not share them, but not in this episode. So I'll leave it there. Thank you again. Au revoir. A bientôt. Tschüss. Till next time. Well, there you have it. Another episode of the innermost ramblings of Fiona. Thanks for coming along for the ride and listening to things that are dear to me, close to my heart, sometimes uncomfortable to share. I hope there's been something that you could identify and take away, or that you just got to know me a little better. If you would like to find me, I am on Instagram at @IAM_embodied expression, or I am Fiona __, or you can email me, or you can download the Anchor app and voice memo me, which is kind of exciting. Yeah, and I'll leave it there. May you have a good evening, morning, day, from my heart to yours. Ashe.